Hey BookTube, how's it going? All my dogs are here right now. This is crazy. Bert's down here. Come on. Uh-oh. We never see Bert, really. And Gizmo's right here too. This is crazy. I'm being dog-ageddoned. Okay, so what I wanted to talk to you about today, BookTube, I've had a question for a long time. And now I'm going to pose it to you. But at the same time, I'm also reading Wikipedia right now, so it's kind of taking care of itself. But maybe you don't know, and you hear a lot of people talking about it. So we're going to talk about it, okay? So, Sally, what is Regency romance? Nope, it's not licking noses. Okay, um, you're in my beard. Okay, are you coming up or come on? Get up here, psycho. Okay, so what is Regency romance? Because I didn't know, and people talk about it all the time. Um, so at first I thought it was like a publisher because I'm that stupid. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read to you. Now, normally I would do the screen capture thing, but for some reason it's not working properly on my videos. So I'm just going to go ahead and do it like this. So, according to Wikipedia, the unflawed version of everything, Regency romances are a subgenre of romance novels set during the period of the British Regency from 1811 to 1820. Now, what has always struck me is that that's only 9 years, and it seems like there are 8 billion books written about this 9 year period. Um, so, the British Regency. So, what the hell is the British Regency? Let's learn about the Regency era. The Regency in Great Britain was a period when King George III was deemed unfit to rule, and his son ruled as his proxy as Prince Regent. On the death of King George III in 1820, the Prince Regent became George IV. The term Regency or Regency era can refer to various stretches of time. Some are longer than the decade of the formal Regency, which lasted from 1811 to 1812. The period from 1795 to 1837, which includes the latter part of the reign of King George III and the reigns of his sons George IV and William IV, is often regarded as the Regency era as well, characterized by distinctive trends in British architecture, literature, fashion, politics, and culture. Um, the Regency era ended in 1837 when Queen Victoria succeeded William IV. Okay. Oh, yeah, we already did that. Um, so, now we know what the Regency era is. Although, in Regency romance, it still says 1812 to 1820. Rather than simply being versions of contemporary romance stories transported to a historical setting, Bert, Regency romances are a distinct genre with their own plot and stylistic conventions. These derive not so much from the 19th century contemporary works of Jane Austen, but rather from Georgette Heyer, who wrote over 2 dozen novels set in the Regency, starting in 1935 until her death in 1974. And the form of fiction genre known as the novel of manners. Okay, I don't know what that is. We're going to have to come back to that. In particular, the more traditional Regencies feature a great deal of intelligent, fast paced dialogue between the protagonists and very little explicit sex or discussion of sex. So basically, Zoe would find these quite boring. Ha ha ha, I'm just kidding. Okay, so they're kind of broken down into two subgenres. We have traditional Regency romance and Regency historical romance. Now, this is actually kind of weird because it seems like it would be the other way around. So let's do this. The distinction rests on the genre definition of Regency romance. Works in the tradition of Georgette Heyer, with an emphasis on the primary romance plot, are considered traditional. Traditional Regency romance writers usually pay close attention to historical detail, as their readers are notorious for noting errors. And the writers often do extensive research so they can clearly understand and replicate the voice of the genre. After Hayer's novels became popular in the United States in the 1960s, many publishers began publishing other Regency set books by new authors, including Claire Darcy and Elizabeth Mansfield. That's a beautiful name. Signet, Dell, and Fawcett were among those publishing traditional Regencies in paperback. The latter, eventually became a special imprint, Fawcett Coventry, which published Regencies and romances from other historical periods. Now, Regency historical romance. The Regency set books written by authors such as Christina Dodd, Eloisa James, Amanda Quick are generally considered to be Regency historical works. Regency romances, which may include more social realism, or conversely, modern characterization, might be classed by some as Regency historical, signifying that their general setting is Regency England, but the plot, characterization, or prose style of the works extends beyond the genre formula of the Regency romances published by Heyer and his successors. Actually, I was confused before. Those actually sound quite perfect there. Now, here are some, oh my gosh, here are some common elements. I'm still kind of sick. So common elements here, references to the ton, le bon ton. I don't know what that is. Let's look it up. The ton is a term commonly used to refer to British high society during the late Regency and reign of George IV. Okay. Depictions of social activities common during the social season, such as carriage rides, morning calls, dinners, plays, operas, assembly balls, etc. What's a morning call? Is that people showing up at your house early in the morning? Also, references to or descriptions of athletic activities engaged in by fashionable young men of the period, including riding, driving, boxing, fencing, hunting, shooting, etc. Differences of social class. Marriages of convenience. A marriage based on love was rarely an option for most women in the British Regency, as securing a steady and sufficient income was the first consideration for both the women and her family. False engagements. Sex workers, women of ill repute, and mistresses and other women employed by the men from the upper classes. Ooh. Mistaken identity, deliberate or otherwise. Mystery or farce elements in the plot. That sounds pretty nice. Okay, so let's go back up here. There was a word I didn't know. Oh, novel of manners. Let's see what this is. The novel of manners is a realistic story that concentrates the reader's attention upon the customs and conversation and the ways of thinking and valuing of the people of a social class. As such, the narrative structure of the novel of manners recreates a social world, civil, military, political, business, and shows the spheres of public and private life sufficiently to convey the dominance of social social code mores upon the personal and public lives of the people in the story. Okay, right here, which you can't see, there is a picture of Balzac, who was the founder of literary realism, of which the novel of manners is a subgenre. Also, in the novels of Jane Austen, domestic affairs of the English gentry in the British countryside, such stories ignore the elemental human passions, love and hate, and the greater matters, social, cultural, political, of the world beyond the county line. So, there we go. That is Regency romance. Again, to me, it's bonkers that an entire genre. I mean, I guess like World War II stuff is like a certain amount of years. Civil War literature is a certain amount of years. I don't know why that should surprise me so much, but it did. So I thought I would look into it. Okay. So, if you have anything to say, or if you have any questions about this, or if you would like to educate me on some of this, I would greatly appreciate it because I do love the history of genres. So, okay, I'll see you later, guys.